I made a crumble.
So it's quite a difficult thing to talk about, but yeah, I'm not gay. Yeah, that's the news. I wanted to talk about this at the end of Pride because I think it's important. I've made a sexual discovery that I'm not sexual, that I'm asexual. I don't think there's a need for me to announce it, but I just wanted to make a video explaining my transition in my sexuality, what it meant to me, how I came to this decision. I've noticed a lot of my friends and family aren't familiar with the idea of being asexual, that it's a bit of a foreign concept, that it doesn't quite make sense to them. So I wanted to put a video out to kind of explain a little bit more about me and try and give you some answers. And if you've got any questions, let me know, I'll try and answer some. I'm going to keep the video away from vulgarity. I want to make sure that it's not too profane because I want to talk about details regarding sexuality, but you don't need to hear intricate details about my sex life. I don't want to tell you intricate details about my sex life, and I'm sure my parents don't really want to hear intricate details about my sex life, so we'll keep that on the down low a little bit. But when I was younger, around 15, 16, I started dating a girl. And that lasted about a year and a half, 2 years, something along those lines. And I didn't really click with the idea. I think it was just because I wanted to seem as if I was fitting the norm, to be in a relationship, to be seeing someone, and I liked that concept, that was good. But I never felt anything towards her. So later on, I decided to experiment, like a lot of people do around that age. And I decided there was something quite thrilling about being gay, like a sense of rebellion, a sense of escapism, and I just felt it worked better for me. So I decided that it was a good time to come out to my parents. And luckily for me, and for them I suppose, it was very smooth. Both my parents were incredibly understanding, both provided a lot of support, and I couldn't have wished for a better coming out experience. I know that not everyone is as lucky to have that. I'm just thankful that my experience was very easy and we could just talk, and it made things so much more rewarding in the long run because I felt as if I was able to have these honest conversations with my parents, which I loved. So I went to university as a gay man. I'd had a little bit of experience with both men and women, and I went into uni with a mostly open mind, but thinking I was more gay. And I'm not going to lie, I had offers, which I appreciated, because it's nice to know that some people find you attractive, but in the long term, went through university, didn't sleep with anyone. I left university in 2012 and spent a couple of years just sort of flitting about. I'd started a new uni teaching course and I left the uni teaching course for reasons to do with my epilepsy, unfortunately. But even during this time, my sexuality wasn't really something I thought about or considered or really cared about, if I'm honest. It was just something that was there. And so I moved down to Liverpool in 2015, and I decided that now would be a great time to explore the world of Tinder. Yeah. I just thought I kind of want to put myself out there a little bit and begin to really discover who I am. And I've been on quite a few dates in the past 5 years, some more interesting than others. If you're unfamiliar with the dating scene, someone asking you what is your favourite colour is usually a great time to end the date there and then, which I did. Because there's boring and he was far too boring. And then I found myself in a relationship for a few months with a very nice guy. I think in hindsight it was never meant to be, because there wasn't much there to go off. There wasn't a relationship, there weren't foundations to build upon. We both liked Pokemon and that was about it. So that relationship fizzled out after a couple of months, but it was nice while it happened. And then it was in 2017 when I met a guy that I really liked, that I thought there's real potential here. And we were together for about 6 months, something like that. We didn't get to see each other often because I worked in Liverpool, he worked, for the sake of anonymity, somewhere else a bit further out. But whenever I saw him, I was looking forward to seeing him. And the first date we went on, we ended up sleeping together. Which isn't usual for me. I never really instigated that kind of thing, but it felt like it happened very organically, so I didn't mind. And again, there was the usual stumbling blocks, because I felt I wanted it, and then when it was happening I didn't. But I really liked the individual, and that was kind of what made me go, okay, we'll just see where this goes. So as our relationship progressed, I found myself becoming more and more in love with him. And I told him about 4.5, 5 months into the relationship that I loved him, and he kind of ran a mile, and that was the end of that. But I noticed, despite how much I loved him, our sex life was bordering on non-existent. When I say that, every time he came to mine, we used to do stuff. But I wasn't there. I don't want to say I wasn't enjoying it, but I just couldn't relate to it. It felt nice, but nothing happened, for lack of better words. And then after trying to play the field, as it were, a little bit, it occurred to me that all this time I've just been lying to myself, that I've never really enjoyed sex. It was just something that happened. It felt like it was part of the schedule for the evening. So I know it's not the case for all asexuals, but for me, I always really liked the idea of having a relationship. I love the idea of security and someone just lying next to you at night to keep you warm, and coming back home at the end of the day and there's someone there to give you a cuddle, and the idea of a life partner. I just love that idea. So I know that some people classify themselves as a romantic, not a romantic, but a romantic. So basically they enjoy the sexual side of the relationship, but they don't want the relationship, they just want the sex. I'm the opposite to that to an extent. So this might leave some people wondering, where do I stand in regards to who do I want to date? And for me, I still would like to date a man. I just find that I have a lot more male friends. I tend to get along better with men. Not that I don't get along with women, but I just find it easier interacting with men. And Ultimately, I'm seeking what a lot of people are seeking in a relationship, a best friend. And that's all I want, is a best friend that I can have a hopefully lifelong experience with. I also feel as if for the right person, I could equally be in a relationship with a girl, just because it's all to do with the person. And I look back at a lot of times in my life where I found people attractive, and I always was unaware of the fact that I didn't really find members of the public attractive. It was always people that I knew. And I realise now in hindsight that was because I was attracted to their personality, their sense of humour. Whether they were good looking or not wasn't really a factor for me. Don't get me wrong, some of them were good looking as well, that helps. But a lot of the people were to do with personality, how good a friend they were. And that's what I really connected with. And that's what I still would want. Now, it's probably not every asexual's cup of tea, but I know if I'm in a relationship with a person that it isn't asexual. When I talked to my dad about making this video, he was a little bit concerned because he worried that some people wouldn't be terribly accepting over what I was. And my response to that was tough, because I'm from a reasonably small market town in the northeast, in Northumberland, and I think because it's quite a closed off sort of area, a lot of people's opinions can be quite old-fashioned. There isn't much exposure to the outside world. Everything feels very contained, and there's an old-fashioned mindset. I think people are just getting used to the idea of gay and lesbian, so when you throw a term like asexual out into the world, it can seem a little bit scary and alien, and that's good. We should be discussing sexuality, we should be talking about how it's relevant to our modern world, how we as individuals need to evolve, and if you've got questions, ask. I'm not ashamed for people to come up to me and go, I don't understand what you are, how you are. I'll happily answer. I don't think I need to apologise for admitting that I don't like sex. If anything, it's a very clean way of living. It's a very innocent way of living. Now, it remains to be seen that if sometime down the line I were to find the one, that maybe I would enjoy sex again. And I'm fully open-minded about that again, because maybe for the right person, my mind will change. I wanted to talk about this because with it being the end of Pride Month, we as a society should be learning to educate ourselves and beginning to understand more about what sexuality is and what it represents and why it's important to people. And I think especially in the current day and age where there's so many issues regarding race especially, we as a planet need to educate ourselves at this time to increase our empathy and increase our understanding for our fellow man. So if you've lasted until the end of the video, I just want to say thank you for watching. I know this is a little bit more different to my usual content, but I thought it was worth discussing. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. I've got no qualms, I'm not ashamed of who I am. I feel as if I finally accepted who I am, and I'm really proud of that. Embrace who you are and be proud of yourself. Even though we've just ended Pride Month, make sure that no matter what sexuality you are, you're proud of it and you're happy to embrace it. Even if people don't understand or accept you for who you are, just remember there are always people out there who love you and accept you, and make sure to never forget that, because it's vital. Be proud. Why is that not straight? That's really annoying. Why am I not straight? That's really annoying.